Okay, so we're just going to do a really nice general restorative sequence of poses that just help us to release after a long day. But also, restorative, I think, is a really good pain reliever, because sometimes when we hold, when we're in pain, we kind of hold the body in a really specific, not particularly helpful way. And our restorative practice is all about trying to encourage the body to relax. And so that in itself is a really valuable way to quieten the sensation of pain or discomfort. So we'll start off in our restorative, in our basic restorative pose, just laying back into the floor with the blanket underneath your head, a folded blanket, so it's like a bit like a pillow, a bolster underneath your knees, and a couple of blocks from underneath your feet if you've got them. And then have your arms out to the sides of the body, and then just allow yourself to just release into the floor. So these first couple of minutes are just the most pleasurable part of the day, I often think. Because if you've been on the go all day, maybe you've been active all day, or maybe you've been working and using your brain all day, then this is just a time to allow yourself to do very little other than relax. So if you notice after a little while that perhaps you're not comfortable, you don't feel evenly stretched along the mat, then just adjust the position of the bolster or the blanket underneath your head or the blocks underneath your feet. Just give yourself the best opportunity to completely relax. Consciously unhook the arm and the leg muscles so that you allow the physical body to become heavy on the floor. So maybe you might want to cover your eyes just to block out the light, just to aid your relaxation. Just allow yourself to release into the floor. Just draw your attention into the soles of your feet. Feel the soles of the feet tingle with consciousness. And then consciously relax the soles of the feet. Draw your attention to the tops of the feet. Draw your attention to the tops of the feet so that they tingle with consciousness. And then gently relax the tops of the feet. And then relax the tops of the feet. Let the skin and the muscle and the bone of the top of the foot completely relax. Draw your attention into your shins, being conscious of the shin bone and the shin skin. Draw your attention into your shins and allow the shin bone to sink into the bed of the calf muscle, completely relaxing the shins. Draw your attention into your thighs, fronts of the thighs, just feeling the muscle and the skin. And then allow the fronts of the thighs to sink into the backs of the thighs. And then allow the fronts of the thighs to completely sink into the backs of the thighs. Draw your attention into the pelvis and the abdomen. Draw your attention into your abdomen and your pelvis, and then completely relax. Spreading the pelvis out across the floor and the abdomen, letting go of the muscles of the abdomen. Draw your attention up into the chest and into the shoulders and the armpits, and the diaphragm and the upper chest. And then with an exhalation, allow the body to just completely relax into the ground. Relaxing the chest and the abdomen, drawing your attention into the shoulders and into the upper arms and the lower arms and the palms. Just gently releasing shoulders and the arms and the hands into the floor, letting go of all tension in the arms and the shoulders. And then finally release the neck. Draw your attention into your neck. And then relax your shoulders and your neck into the floor. Drawing your focus up into the head. Consciously scan the face and the neck and the head for areas of tension. And then using your out breath, push your consciousness into that region. Relaxing the skin around the face and the forehead and the jaw and the tongue. Just allowing yourself to completely release into the floor. And then just allow yourself to relax into the floor. When you're ready to disturb yourself, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, and then bend your knees. Bring your feet onto the bolster. Have the feet together, the feet apart, the knees together for a moment. And then gently roll over onto your right side. And then stretch out the top leg, come back up onto, just come back into cross legs. So if you've been wearing the eye pillow, maybe your eyes are a little bit blurry, that will recover in a moment. Just hold on to your knees for a moment. Observe. Just observe your energy. Just listening to the breath. Okay, so we're going to do our side lying stretch. If you've got a oblong bolster, it's always better for this pose. So get yourself an oblong bolster if you've got one. If you haven't, your normal bolster will work, but maybe it just might feel a bit bulky. If you haven't got either of those, you can use a folded blanket, but this is like folded for your kind of head, for like a pillow type thing. So just fold it down the middle again. So you've got this really chunky one, and that's going to go in the armpit chest. You'll need a block for your head, and then you just come onto your side. You sit kind of close to the bolster, but you really want the bolster to lengthen out along the bolster. You want the shoulder to come down onto the floor, and this arm just to rest in a little right angle, and then you have your block just to support your head. And then you're just going to stretch your arm over your ear and then just rest into the bolster. So as we progress into the sequence, I'll speak less so that you can just use the time to relax rather than to listen. Remember, if you don't feel comfortable, or if the bolster or the block feels in the wrong place, then adjust until you feel comfortable. You can always put a block underneath your hand, your upper hand, to just support your shoulder if it needs it. Or you can just release into the pose. Just aiming to breathe evenly into both lungs. Evenly into both lungs, evenly out of both lungs. Okay, and then just bring the top arm back onto the hip. Push your bottom elbow into the floor and then just sit yourself up. And cross legs for a moment, just observe difference in your energy, that lightness of energy around the armpit chest that you were leaning into. So we'll do the other side just to even that out. So just sit with the other hip close to the bolster and then lengthen yourself out along the bolster again. So the bolster is in the armpit chest. Have the hand that's on the floor just in a little comfortable right angle, and then stretch the upper arm over your head and over your ear, and then relax, release into the floor. Okay, bring the top hand back onto the hip. Push your elbow into the floor and then just come back up into cross legs, just sitting in cross legs, just observing your energy. Observing the energy that you've released through your practice. And then we're going to do our half frog pose. So we're going to use no bolsters or anything for this. We just lay directly onto the floor. So both legs are stretched out, and then you're just going to bend out one leg to a little right angle to the rest of the body. And then you rest, you create a little pillow for your hands, and you rest your head with the chin in the same direction as the bent knee. And then you just release into the floor. So this just gently opens up that inner groin of the bent leg. So you just directly on the floor, your head resting on one side. Just normal breathing. And then bring that leg back. Just lay on your front for a moment. Just observe that quite subtle but distinct opening of that inner groin, of that bent knee that you've achieved from just staying in the pose. And then just bend out the other leg. A little right angle from the body. Rest your head on the opposite side so that your chin is in the same direction as your bent knee. And then again, just rest into the floor. Okay, just release that leg, just stretch both legs out in front, just sit back on your, just lay down on your front for a moment, rest on your forehead, and the back of your hands, just rest into the floor, just letting the hips just gently recover. And then push your hands underneath your shoulders, just push yourself up into a seated position. Just sit back on your heels for a moment and just observe your energy. Just observe the energy that you have released through your practice. And then we're going to finish off with our heart pose. So use your tubular bolster if you've got one. Have a block or a folded blanket, probably better, underneath your head. And you're just going to lay yourself down along the centre of your mat, guiding yourself down. So keeping the legs straight, just guiding yourself down into the floor, and then again, just cover your eyes with your eye pillow if you've got one. And then release down into the floor, feeling the openness of the chest. The openness of the chest and the abdomen. Just listening to the breath just draping over the bolster. Again, just adjust if you're not comfortable. Adjust until you are comfortable. just push yourself up into a seated position. Just move the bolster from underneath you. Just bring the bolster underneath your knees, and then just guide yourself back down onto the floor, just to finish in our basic relaxation pose. Just observe the lightness of the limbs, feeling that the bones radiate energy into the muscles and into the organs. Into the flesh and the bones and the skin. Just observing the lightness of the physical body. Basking in that feeling of energetic lightness. And then when you're ready, just gently wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers. Just bring yourself back into this pose of Shavasana. Bring the feet onto the bolster, have the feet apart and the knees together. Just resting your back into the floor. And then draw your knees in toward your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. Just a gentle massage on the spine. And then gently roll over onto your right side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. Just a final cross legs with your hands in the masti, just a final spinal lift. Just bring the breath in through the nose, down into the abdomen. Conscious of the energy that you released through your practice, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the relaxation poses bring to the body and to the mind. And then gently bring your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside, and then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel as though you have really lifted your energy. Give yourself lots of good, positive energy to put into your evening. So thank you very much for joining me.